All right, guys, to the second part then. If you haven't seen the first part, please see it below to give a little bit of more insight into the thinking process here. We went Sicilian. He started with knight c3. I'm not sure if it's such a common move, but he didn't want to go into theory. I continued with normal Sicilian d6, and then I attack his pawn. He obviously protect the pawn with fianchetto, and this fianchetto is not such a common line. It's a close Sicilian. So white typically strikes d4 in the open Sicilian, which he didn't do. So this is called close Sicilian. I start with e6, which is a similar idea into Najdorf like positions. I start with e6 instead of a6 because I didn't knew which was the move order, and then you should always try to get your king to safety first. Even though I will probably never castle, this is Sicilian, it's a mafia game, and my black king will just stay in the center. White continues with his development on e2. I create a space for castle, not actually going to castle, of course. As soon as he castle, I decided on my signature h5 attack, and then he went h3, which I think is a pretty solid move, like I said, and I didn't know what to do, so I just started with a6, which is the typical Najdorf idea, and then I follow it up by, when he strikes to the center, takes, and then I put my queen to c7, which is the typical idea in Sicilian in Najdorf positions. And I'm just using, even though this is not a Najdorf, I'm using the same ideas. And when he goes bishop, I develop my knight to d7, which is the typical Najdorf idea as well. I calculated it, I didn't see any issues with it. And then my opponent went ballistic with his f4 attack, and then I knew, and then I found the h5 push because I thought he's a higher rated opponent, right? I mean, if you do regular stuff, you are going to lose. So I want to go super aggressive, and that's why I push my h pawn to say that the war is on. And then he pushed his g pawn, which is a very good technique. He is now creating safety haven for his king, but then on the other hand, my attack has already started. So then I first push, I could not make the b5 work because of several tactics that were there, even after my queen was there, but more importantly his bishop, which was staring on that long diagonal, was making it difficult for me to get out the pin. So I did that to really make sure there is no sack business. For instance, if I would not have done this, I think something like, if I did b5, I think there was a mistake because he could do something like this pawn push and win material, which is a similar idea that, like I explained you last time in the bishop g5 queen f3 line. So instead of that, I prepared it with this rook move. He attacked my pawn, and then I went g6, which is a key move, allows any push on this side. So basically it's like a very proactive move to make sure that I'm not getting checkmated. And then he develops his queen, connect the rook, and at this point of time I'm able to get my b5 push going. And typically, if you can manage this, you are okay as black. Evaluation plays plus 1.7, but yeah, it will vary because it's low depth. If you put higher depth, you will see that, and in any case, computer don't understand these positions very well. Went to a3, which is a good idea. This allows the next push. I go my bishop on the long diagonal to neutralize his bishop, which is looking all the way here. He centralizes his rook, always a good move. And then I found this nice idea of maneuvering my knight to b6, and then eventually heading to c4. And then he retreated his queen for whatever reason. I didn't quite understood the rationale, but I think he wanted to overprotect his rank, the first rank, It was a bit too slow in my view. And then I was able to get my knight in, which was always my plan. And then this is really a mistake. Can you spot why? And I spotted it, of course. You push the pawn. It says that's an error, but in a real life, yeah, I don't know. Takes the pawn. I take this knight sack, and the idea is you cannot take it, because if you take it, I push the pawn. When the bishop retreats, woo, pawn takes, king goes here, and then I'm able to get this nice fork. That's a tactical sequence I was able to manage to get. I think it's still plus 2.1, but yeah, in real life, when you're getting attacked like this, it's very, very hard for white to really play this. Takes, and then I win my rook. It's plus 1.9 it is saying, but as really, really, really dubious as white to play this. Is extremely easy for with black, I think, to play this position. Takes, and then I centralize my queen to make sure that his queen is hanging. I'm exploiting that queen to threaten to push the e-pawn, and then he fell for it. I don't know what he was thinking. It's obviously a mistake because his queen is hanging. I take the knight first, is free, and then when he takes, I'm just a piece up. Yeah, happens in this level also that opponents, I don't know what he was thinking. Maybe he was just too afraid to see my attack, and that's the whole point of playing so aggressively as black. I centralized my rook to try to force the rook trade and also occupy the open file, and then I push the pawn in. Yeah, I mean, this is probably GG. Takes. I just shift my king, and then after pushing the pawn, once I threaten the rook trade, he resigns. No, he checks me, I goes up, and yeah, then he resigns. I mean, there is nothing more to be done. That's what it takes to take down a 2100. We are 2100 now ourselves, and now we will try to beat a 2100 to get to the 2200 mark, and that will need a whole lot of theory and preparation. If you are not ready yet, please see my content to go from 1200 till 1500, or from 1500 to 1600, or 1500 to 1600, 1600 to 1700. I have all of those content. When you are ready and you are ready to be 2000, come back to the next run where we are going to take down a 2100. Until then, have a next time and keep playing. This is wannabe super grandmaster Photo King. It was really nice to host you on beating this 2000.